Hey everyone, it's your buddy, it's your pal. I'm Karnak. This is Serenity Wargaming and Explanations. We're doing a Star Wars Armada segment. We're going to be looking at the upgrade card Ahsoka Tano for the Grand Army of the Republic. So, Ahsoka Tano, to get into the card, jump right in. How do you know that this is an officer? You look at the bottom left hand corner of the card, you'll see the officer icon there. Opposite corner, you'll see that this Ahsoka Tano is for the Republic based on the icon next to the point cost, which is 6 points. In front of Ahsoka's name, you'll see a little dot or bullet point, signifies that they are unique. You can only ever have one Ahsoka Tano in your fleet, whether that be the officer or there's also a squadron version. You have to choose between the two. So that's what that means. Okay, as I always do, I read through the card and then I just give a quick overview of how it works, and then I'll kind of like break down into more of the other explanations of like how this card will interact with things. Okay, so that symbol there that start with, that's the squadron command symbol. So squadron command, each of up to 3 non-unique squadrons that you activate gain snipe 1 for each die in their anti-squadron armament to a maximum of snipe 3 until the end of its activation. In a nutshell, how does this work? When you activate 3 non-unique squadrons, you look at their anti-squadron armament and you say, okay, however many dice is in there, that squadron now gains snipe equal to that until the end of its activation, which is that squadron's activation. Okay, so that just, it's a cheap way to give your ships the ability to kind of shoot at things and not like take counter damage back. I'd say it's relatively useful, but we'll get into that a little bit later. Let's just keep onto the card. So to get into it, when it's talking about each unique, non-unique squadron that you activate, one thing I want to make sure I'm pointing out, and I got a document here to help keep things and give an example. So you choose and declare when a squadron gains Ahsoka Tano's effect. You do not declare beforehand that what squadrons are going to gain it before you activate them. Compare this to like Harris and Dula's ability in her VCX. Rather, each time you go to activate a squadron, you declare if that squadron is using Ahsoka Tano's effect or not. And each time that you activate a squadron, you can do this declaration for 3 squadrons. So, for example, you could activate a V19, let's call them A, choose to use the effect, which is now one of the up to 3 that you have chosen. You then could activate another V19, let's call them B, and choose not to use Ahsoka Tano's effect. You activate another V19C, choose to use the effect, which is now 2 of the up to 3 you can choose. So you can determine which squadrons, if you're activating like more than 3, for example, let's say you've got a squadron value of like 5 going on, and you're activating 5 squadrons in that ship's activation. Again, it's not the first 3 activated. It's in the order of your choosing, because it says of each of up to 3. So you can determine as you activate squadrons if you want them to use Ahsoka's effect or not. Now you have to declare it, okay, each time you activate, because your opponent has to know what your intent is. If you just activate a bunch of squadrons and you are not specifying which are or are not gaining Ahsoka's effect, that can definitely lead to potentially them going, oh, hey, Judge, they didn't declare using Ahsoka Tano's effect, therefore they don't get it. And technically they would be correct. You need to be very clear when you are and when you aren't using Ahsoka. Okay, so another question I get a lot about Ahsoka is, do squadrons benefit from flight controllers? And yes, if you look at the flight controller errata, it does specify that it does add to snipe. So once squadrons have gained snipe, when they go to attack, you collect the anti-squadron armament of snipe, which is blue dice. And then once you've gathered it, if you've got flight controllers, then you can pop in, another blue die to then roll. So that's just, for some reason, people get confused if you can add it or not, but the errata for flight controllers does clearly specify that it works with snipe. So that is Ahsoka Tano. Again, making sure that you understand that only non-unique squadrons can benefit from this card, so no unique squadrons can utilize Ahsoka. I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, it'd be great with like Anakin or this, that, and the other thing." It's like, oh, there's like reasons for why maybe some of this doesn't work. One thing I do want to point out is that like if you are doing like a team game, you would be able to like utilize like other factions if you activate like their non-unique squadrons, like for example, Gold Squadron for the Rebels if you were like flying in conjunction or something like that. But it'd be pretty rare to get an interaction like that. The rules don't really support that kind of stuff unless it's like a casual game between friends. But otherwise, Ahsoka, there is no or any clarification of the forms or anything like that. It's very straightforward. So for Ahsoka, the most effective that I've seen with Ahsoka is honestly with like the V19s or even Y Wings. You could use arcs. I have seen some benefit of using arcs just because they are so slow. That way, when they do get in the range, at least they're starting to throw some dice out without you having to actually be engaged with things. Honestly, all of the squadrons in the republics can really utilize it. Obviously, for the Delta Sevens, they've got 4 dice. They can only collect up to 3 for snipe. But I mean, yeah, I've seen use for all of them, especially if you're using that in combination with flight controllers. You just really can throw out some hurt. It's just that officer slot on Republic ships is just so competitive. It's just hard to even still find a spot for Ahsoka sometimes. But that's it for this upgrade card. There's nothing really else crazy or anything going on. But of course, if you have a question that's just easy, simple enough to answer, if you just kind of want some more examples of how it works, great. Feel free to ask away. Of course, if you need like official clarification or want like an official answer, please go to the Atomic Mass Game forums and put your question up there, and that will make sure it'll be reviewed by an official source. So, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you next time. Hey Swayers, it's your buddy, it's your pal. I'm Karnak, and this is Serenity Wargaming and Explanations. Before I get into the video today, quick shout out to the sponsors of the channel. Firstly, to Otherworld Events, regardless if you're needing assistance for event managing, planning, organizing, how to even start, or just need specific ideas for what it is you're doing that you already have a plan for, Otherworld Events can help you out. Second, to Admiral Tater Ship Shop. Admiral Tater Ship Shop, while specializing in Star Wars Armada miniature items, also has X-Wing and Legion items. If you're looking to really get some great looking acrylics on the table, whether it be holders for your upgrade cards or tokens or acrylic tokens, and most importantly, you just want a perfect range ruler with no flaws or errors in it that's going to give you exact measurements every time, highly recommend Admiral Tater. It's the range rulers I use at tournaments. I know they're cut perfectly, they're going to range perfectly, and I'm going to get that best measurement every single time. Also, just look at everything they have available.